guys, Gil Maria here.
Hi.
We're making a tutorial video on how to make your own grip equipment. Grip can be kind of expensive to get into if you're wanting to buy a flask or a euro. So we're going to show you how to make a pinch block and a loading pin for about $28, $29.
And we're going to use me to show you that you don't have to be a technically skilled engineer necessarily to do this stuff. I'm going to have a little help, but anybody can do it.
Alright, so let's get started with the pinch block. First we'll go over what we need. So you're going to need a 3-foot long 1x6 board, and this doesn't have to be any kind of special wood. I got pine because it's cheap, and you'll need a 3/8 by 8 inch lag eye bolt. And an important thing to note is this board, we're going to cut it into 3 sections, and a 1x6 is actually 3/4 of an inch thick. So we're going to end up with a 2.25 or 2 1/4 inch thick board pinch block, which is the same thickness as the flask. You can change the thickness by getting thicker or thinner pieces of wood or using different numbers of boards. But we're going to make one that's the same thickness as a flask. The tools that you're going to need are a drill with a 3/8 inch drill bit, wood glue, a saw, a Sharpie, which we already drew the lines on here, and a screwdriver to help you get this lag bolt in, or you can use a wrench or anything that's long that you can use to turn this around. Alright, so once you've got all this stuff, let's get started. Let's cut this wood. Oh yeah, and one other thing that you'll need is you'll need clamps to hold the wood together once you've glued it, or something heavy to sit on top of it, or a vise. You can use a vise to hold it together. And also, we'll be using a vise for a lot of this because it makes everything a lot easier. So you want to make sure that you have a clean surface to put the glue on, so get any little specks of stuff off of the faces of the boards. And then you just put a little bit of glue on the first board.
How much?
Just kind of like a hot
Like
dog.
a mustard?
Yeah. Alright. So then once you put the glue on there, it helps to take like a piece of cardboard or something and just smear the glue around real good. Make sure and get it to the edges. And then you'll take a board, make sure it's clean, set it on top. Then do it again. Alright, and once you've got all the boards sandwiched together, I'm going to use clamps, but I mean you can just, if you have some weights or dumbbells or something, you can put those on top. And you'll just set the boards up and start adding clamps.
So does it matter that it's not even on this side?
No, that's not the part you're going to be pinching on. So the sides aren't as important as the top. Well, I guess the bottom's not really important either because you won't be pinching on that. This is which side you decide is you're going to sand on. That'll be the side that you want to be relatively flush. Alright. We're all clamped up. And now you gotta wait for it to dry. So we'll take it over here, out of the way. And we'll grab the one that I did earlier. that's already glued up and get it ready to put this lag bolt in. So you'll want to find the center of this block, which will be 6 inches in because it's a 12-inch block. So my square has a ruler built into it. So I'll take my Sharpie and I'll make a little mark at 6 inches. And I'll eyeball it and say that's probably the center of the board right there. And then let's go back to the vise. Set the block in there and drill yourself a 3/8 inch hole straight down. Now that you've got your 3/8 inch hole, you take your lag bolt and screw it in. And then for the surface that you're going to be pinching on, you don't want these edges to be as sharp as they are right now. So you'll want to take some sandpaper and round them off a little bit. What I like to use is 60 grit for most things. It takes off a lot of material. I think this little pack of sandpaper costs $3. So you'll take a little strip of it, just sand it down. Maria, would you like to sand for me? Great, I get to do this. That feels pretty good. Alright. So here we have a 2 1/4 inch thick, foot wide pinch block. And the edges are nice and round so it doesn't hurt my web at all, doesn't hurt my hands to grab. Alright, now on to the loading pin. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a 3/8 inch by 4 inch eye bolt with a nut, a 1/2 inch cap, a 1/2 inch by 12 inch long nipple, a 1/2 inch floor flange, a 3/8 inch nylon lock washer, or nylon lock nut, and a 7/16 inch spring clip. And you'll need the same drill, and you'll want a 9/16 wrench, and a vise is always helpful as well. So let's get started on that. So you want to take the nipple and screw the floor flange onto it. Then you want to take your cap and drill a hole in it. And it'll make it a lot easier to drill a hole if you use a pilot bit. It's hard to drill a 3/8 inch hole without doing a pilot. So we'll take the 3/8 inch bit off and put on, I don't know, what's this, 5/32. I just grabbed something. And then you'll want to drill the pilot hole down through the middle of the cap. There you go. Alright, so we got our pilot hole. Now we want to switch out bits. Here, leave that in there. Still got to drill another hole. So switch back to your 3/8 inch drill bit. And we'll turn the speed down. Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Why'd you do that one first?
It makes the drill bit go through a lot easier.
Ooh. Is that in?
Let me see. Yep. All right. So we've got our hole. Next, you'll want to take the eye bolt. Make sure that the nut is threaded all the way up to the eye, and then put it in the cap.
This way.
Mm-hmm. Then take your nylon lock nut, put it on.
Nice.
Yeah, and go back to the vise. You want to tighten the nylon lock nut. Tighten the nylon lock nut down until the wrench is basically touching the cap. Because in case you want to take it back off, you'll still need to be able to get to the nylon lock nut. You'll see what I mean when you do. All right, so that's good. So then we'll take it out of the vise and turn it sideways. And then the nut that was already on the eye bolt, you want to thread it all the way down to the cap so that it's sandwiching the cap in between the two nuts on the eye bolt. And you'll end up with a little cap that has an eye bolt coming out of it. And screw that into the top of onto the top of the nipple, and you've got a loading pin. And then for clipping to it, we've got this spring link. So you get your pinch block and your loading pin, and you are ready to pinch. Alright, so now we've got our loading pin and our pinch block set up. How do we use it? Well, this loading pin, you can use Olympic plates. You just slip it on like so. And lift. Or, what if you only have standard plates? Well, you can still use the same loading pin. You just need to unscrew the cap. Slide your standard plates over. I don't have very many big standard plates, so you just have to deal with my half kilogram standard plates. But you just screw the cap back on after that. And clip it. And there you go. But what if you don't have any weights? Well, if that's the case, then you can just take a chain and wrap it around something heavy. Clip to that and lift it. And after all that, you're still only out $28. I'll post down in the description a list of materials that you'll need and the prices of everything. I got all mine at a big box home improvement store. And if you like this video, if you want more videos like this, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, and if you have any questions or recommendations or whatever, leave me a comment. Thanks.